I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Henry Ford College Board of Trustees. It's December 16th, 2019. Roll call, please.
Hussein Berry.
Here.
Mary Lane.
Here.
Roxanne McDonald.
Here.
Michael Mead.
Here.
Adel Mozip.
Here.
James Thorpe here. Chair Mary Petlicoff.
Here. Next, please.
Approval of minutes of the following Henry Ford College Board of Trustee meetings. Policy Committee Special Meeting November 18, 2019. Policy Committee Special Meeting November 18, 2019. And regular meeting November 18, 2019. Recommended action is to make any necessary corrections and move to approve these minutes.
So moved.
Support.
Are there any corrections other than the ones that we were apprised of through email?
I'd like just to make a comment, not so much of a correction, but to thank Kathy for her work in adding the comments where I think they were supposed to be, so thank you so much, Kathy. Yeah.
All right, then. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Please attach a unanimous roll. Next, please.
Recognition and acknowledgements. That's the same thing that Mike was just doing.
Oh, he wanted to hide in the back. That's okay.
Thank you, President Kavalhuna and Chair
Just say Mrs. P.
and members of the board. My name is Ali Dabaja. I was born in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. I moved to the United States 3 years ago. I graduated from Fortson High School, 2018. This fall is my 5th semester in HFC. And my major is electrical engineering. I plan to transfer to UFM, Michigan Dearborn in the winter 2021. My goal is to get my bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and computer engineering, and then transfer to Western Michigan University to get my master's on aerospace engineer. Now I am pleased to read this month's HFC Board acknowledgements. Congratulations to Stacy Owen, HFC Enrollment Service Manager. Ms. Owen completed her master's degree in higher education student affairs and also earned a certificate in academic advising, both from Eastern Michigan University. Congratulations to HFC student athlete Leon Ayers. Leon has accepted a scholarship from the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay at Davidson One School, where he will play basketball for the Phoenix starting in the 2020-21 season. Congratulations to HFC Culinary Arts student and Navy veteran Sandra Lewis. Sandra has joined WHFR radio staff and is currently hosting Feast of Folk from 2 to 4 p.m. every Wednesday. Congratulations to HFC students who took part in round 1 of the Student Math League. The winners for round 1, first place, Ali Hamoud, second place, Najwa Abudai, and third place, Ho Ho. HFC is ranked 3rd in Michigan and 8th in the Midwest region. Good luck to all as they complete in round 2 in the winter 2020. Thank you for the opportunity to be a month's reader. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Well, I have a real strong suspicion that the president here will ask you something.
I do have one question and one comment for you, Ali. How long have you been speaking English?
Well, it was my first language, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And how long have you been in the country?
3 years.
Okay. I just want to tell you that it is many people's greatest fear to speak in public. And some of us never really get over the fear of speaking in public.
And some of us don't care at all.
And they usually let you know.
It works out well.
I want to congratulate you for having the guts to stand up here and talk to all of us. We're proud to have people like you in our country, and we're proud even more so to have you in our college. And
Thank you.
And if you're going to Western Michigan University, I don't know how they picked you, but man, they picked the right person to speak this. That's where I went to undergraduate college also. So I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, go Broncos. Yes. And Madam Chair, I think maybe there are some other questions.
Okay, Trustee McDonald?
Ali, you said you were interested in going into aerospace engineering?
For my master's,
For your
yes.
master's?
Yes.
What do you want to do eventually with that degree? What are you looking to?
Well, the future,
Yeah, anything in particular?
create new planes.
That's terrific, good. Yeah, safe ones. Thank you.
No problem.
Trustee Moses, did you have your hand?
Ali, there is a Fortson senior right now with your same name, first name and last name, who actually got accepted to Harvard 3 days ago. So
I heard.
you have big shoes to fill with that kind of name. So I wanted to ask you, since you are a newcomer, I was a newcomer as well. I came when I was 13, maybe probably close to the age. How did the college help you acclimate with the language, or did you start from really, really low-level English classes, or since you were speaking, maybe you got a little bit of a break?
Well, in the United Arab Emirates, where I was born and raised for 15 years, we learned the British curriculum
Yep.
of English, not
Mhm.
really American English. So, but it wasn't really that hard for me. But I had to do a placement test, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah?
And yeah, they put me in the ESL test because I was born overseas. I was from overseas.
Right.
So yeah, it changed. I had to take those classes.
That's fine. I
Yeah.
mean, remedial courses, sometimes they do give you the prep so you can take the college. Now, I assume
Yeah.
that you already took English 131?
Yes.
Very well.
Yeah.
Okay. So, best wishes. I mean,
Thank you.
You're doing an amazing job. So, great job, and best wishes at you next door. I went there also for undergrad, and I did computer engineering, and it's a challenging field, I'll tell you. But I think you're up to the challenge.
I hope so. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations, Ali.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
President's items.
Thank you, Trustee Thorpe. I have a very brief presentation for you today because I am all that stands between you and Kevin Dewey's performance. And I also am what stands between you and moving on to your holiday timeframe. So, in your packet, you have a document that I always call, with some jest, but it is a serious document, the rainbow chart of cash, and it shows you our cash position throughout the entire fiscal year. If you do notice, there are a couple areas that are highlighted in red. Recall, those are situations throughout the year when we fall below $1.5 million in our cash position. And rest assured that Mr. Sadkowski and I have talked about those, and even those that take us below a zero level are something that we're aware of, and we plan to move the cash position of the college well in advance of any of those becoming a problem. You also have in your packet the budget summary that goes until the end of November, and you will see there that the budget reflects some of the things that we noted in the beginning of our fiscal, well, I should say, the fall term, which was higher than budgeted enrollment, and we continue to track that, and we are happy with the bottom line, both in respect to its over or under position as it relates to last year's November 30 timeframe, and with respect to our budget that we proposed to the board and that the board approved for the current fiscal year. Those are the financial documents that I've provided to you all. I'm happy to move on to a couple other things, but I'll pause now to answer any questions about the financial documents.
Are any questions?
Hearing none, I'll just note a few things you've got in your packet that I won't go into depth about, but they are there for you if you decide you want to reference them throughout the board meeting tonight. One is the versions of potential changes to our residency and tuition policies that General Counsel Clark has prepared for the board. They are titled versions 1 and version 2. There is also a copy of the proposed integrated energy master plan that, the contract for the integrated energy master plan that is a part of your agenda for today. You also have the information associated with the proposed technology investment fund projects, and those are the documents in your package. Any questions about those documents, other than those that relate to looking at them as we proceed through the agenda?
And everybody should have the full contract. It was sent to us in our board documents. Well, just in case they don't want to read the teeny print.
I know, sorry.
Well, yeah, 92 pages. Okay, Trustee Lane.
Just a comment on the contract. Thank you for printing it 4 pages to 1 page. I know that that's impossible to read in that size 5 font, but we do have an electronic version. So this is really for reference, and I appreciate the paper savings.
Well, Trustee Lane, I can't take credit for that. That's Kathy Dimitriou's.
But I wasn't thanking you. I'm
Okay.
thanking not to you. I know you didn't do it. It's Kathy.
Quit taking credit for everything.
Thank you.
Okay, are we asking questions about the contract right now, or?
No.
Okay.
No.
The last thing I'll say is little known fact, interesting to tell friends and family at gathering. December 4th is none other than Trustee Thorpe's birthday. And
No.
I'm sorry, I got those reversed?
Yes.
Okay, then don't tell it that way at your friends and family events. December 4th is Trustee Pelichkoff's birthday.
But I was ignoring it anyhow, so.
And that makes December 5th Trustee
Yes.
Thorpe's birthday. I wish them both happy birthdays.
Happy birthday.
I will say that this is the last meeting that we'll have before the end of the calendar year, and we move into the time as a college to celebrate various religious and secular traditions in our family, and I wish everyone on the board a safe and enjoyable holiday expression. And all my teammates at the college, I wish them well, and I thank them for all of their work in the calendar year. And the last thing I have for you, Madam Chair, is there is a part of your agenda that has personnel items, and if it is okay at the end of the board meeting, I might take an opportunity, depending on the outcomes of those, to introduce some folks.
Certainly.
That is all I have. Thank you.
All right. and,
I have a
Yes, Trustee Lane?
on the staff updates, I assume that we're going next to holiday choral. Before we do that, can we pause in recognition of the deaths of 2 staff members, William Jocks and James Kner? So I'd just like to take the moment and not let it pass without an acknowledgement.
An acknowledgement, yes, correct. Okay, if we could have a moment of silence, please. All right, thank you very much. All right, next item, please.
Special reports, holiday choral presentation, Mr. Kevin Dewey, Director of Choral and Vocal Music.
President, Chair, and trustees, it's my privilege to be before you 2 months in a row, and it's a very exciting time, so I'll try to keep it brief. First of all, I'd like to say that President Russ Cavalluna is 100% responsible for me being here with the choir tonight.
Give him credit.
You lost all credibility now.
Oh, man. Well,
But you
I'm
tried.
going down with a good ship. A lollipop. Somebody left something on the table there that if you wanted to pick it up and do something with. It's a flyer. When I told you last month about the performances coming up, we've had at least a dozen concerts of various types since I saw you last, and we only have one left. for this season, and that is the Renaissance Voices, which is the women's treble women's ensemble here. And they're performing a festival of lessons and carols, a traditional program in the manner of Cambridge, King's College, Cambridge, England. And so I think a flyer has been left for each of you with a couple of complimentary tickets. If you're interested, love to see you there. If not, feel free to pass those tickets on to someone else who might enjoy them. They're going to sing two short selections for you. One is Alleluia, een nieuwe werk is kom on hand. Thou mich an gras of Gottes sand, to save the lost of every land. This is English. This is 14th century English. Anyway, it has to do with the new work has come on hand through the might and grace of God's messenger to save the lost of every land. Alleluia, alleluia. And the second one is a selection by John Rutter called Candlelight Carol. So once again, I thank you for the opportunity to perform for you. I try to bring a different group every year, and it's Renaissance Voices' turn. So I hope you can enjoy. Thanks.
Oh
That was absolutely beautiful, and we really appreciate you putting us in the next mood for the holiday season. Thank you. Next item, please.
Discussion items, residency and tuition determination for temporary protective status, TPS students, Board Report 4533, Vice President Clark.
I will say that we have had conversation at the last meeting, so we are ready to move forward once our discussion is had, if somebody wants to put forth a motion for one of the two versions or something else, so that everybody in the audience understands that this has been discussed a month prior, which is our procedure to follow our bylaws and policies, to have had the discussion prior to tonight's meeting. But because at the last meeting, we still had some questions, and we're not quite ready to move in a direction, I wanted this brought forward as a discussion item again, so that we could get all of our clarifications that are necessary to make an appropriate decision. Yes, Trustee Lane.
I emailed people, of course, and I do want to just briefly talk about that, but Trustee Thorpe has a blue card from the audience, and it's pertaining to the item on the table. So in order for us to hear from the audience member, perhaps we should do that now. Otherwise, if we put a motion on the table, it'll be, well, there won't have any.
Okay,
we won't get any feedback.
Yeah, I understand that. Can we first have the discussion begun with, are we going to have Ms. Clark come up and at least introduce the topic, and then we can dispense with the order of business and have the citizen participation after we just set up so that everybody understands what we're talking about before he comes up and asks this question?
Okay. Good evening. There were two policies under consideration by the board. One is, version 1 is the treating tuition for temporary protected status students as out-of-district tuition rates. The second option is to treat the status as determined on the residency of the student. I don't know how much more information.
Well, okay, now, so that everybody understands what we're talking about, if Trustee Thorpe, would you like to go to citizen participation?
Citizens wishing to address the board on agenda and non-agenda items for action who have submitted a blue card to the secretary may speak at this time. The board may not be in a position to respond to non-agenda items, therefore speakers should not anticipate an immediate response to their comments or questions. For the benefit of all concerned, do not mention the names of students or college employees. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. Wishing to speak on the TPS issue is Abdul Hakim Al-Sadi, representing the National Association of Yemeni Americans.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abdul Hakim Al-Sada. I'm the president of the National Association of Yemeni Americans, and actually the organization that introduced the proposed changes to the college. And I would like first and most to acknowledge and thank the college administration, the president and the vice presidents, and the Foreign Students Office for working with us in this item. Simply and very quickly, what is the TPS? It's temporarily protected status, which means the person that carry that has a kind of permanent residency, because the government issued them. Okay.
Microphone went out for a second.
Huh?
It went out for
Okay.
seconds. But
So the person is not a DACA, which is 2 years. This is issued to countries and individuals in this country due to natural disasters, wars, and as all of you know, Yemen has been in war since 2011. And it has become extremely difficult for students to afford anything. They can't get money from their families because most F1 students are people who are capable of supporting themselves through their families back home. Because of the war, because of the war, they can't really get any help. We have done this with Eastern Michigan University, so and it's been working great for people. And what it does is it's first temporarily for 18 months, and then it's renewable every 18 months. We strongly expect that it's going to be renewed in March. And the number of students, as you can see in the item, there's not a lot of students, but we really anticipate a lot of students to come to Henry Ford actually as a result of changing the tuition, because we know for a fact at the Yemeni American community that we have a lot of students with F1 visa that comes to various different colleges, and they would come because of the changes. Once again, I thank the board for considering this, which would definitely mean that the college is proactive. The college is looking at the communities, what they go through, and taking steps to remedy and to help the community. And so we appreciate it, and thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, then, Trustee Lane?
I'd just like to say as background that I sent the board members, the president, the vice president, and I spoke briefly with her assistant as well, and I don't know if anybody else was on the email. I don't know, I hit reply all, so probably half the college was, but anyways, I sent an email. It had a bunch of attachments. It had hyperlinks in there. But just quickly, I would like to say the college already treats DACA students rightfully as being able to come forward and show that they reside within our district or within our state. So this section of law, which is Section 244 of the Immigration Act, this section actually should have a greater priority. It's mentioned within the Immigration and Nationality Act. The title, Temporary Protected Status, is right in there, whereas DACA was a creation of President Obama after the repeated failure to resolve the problem, of 11 plus million undocumented people. So President Obama issued deferred action status, an executive order creating DACA. This category is something that's actually in the law. It mentions the word residents, although state and local governments can treat residents differently. I think that in light of the humanitarian background of TPS, its history is replete with examples of when we acted up to our best ideals, granting TPS, such as in the case of civil war, Burundi, Rwanda, Yemen, a bunch of countries, and then natural disaster as well. So it does not entitle international students to anything unless they happen to be from a TPS country. I'm suggesting, and I did it in my little memorandum that I sent to you, I suggest that the college treat those TPS students as any other students coming forward The federal government grants them work authorization, Social Security, and recognizes that they are physically present in the United States. So I think the college should treat them similarly, at least for the period of time that they're protected by our federal government. So I'm asking that the trustees consider version 2, and I would, if anyone has any questions, I would be glad to tell you what I know. I have some additional other information that I printed this afternoon, as well as what I sent you.
Are you making a motion?
I would like, yeah.
Yeah, let's
finish the discussion.
Let's finish the discussion, make sure that nobody else has any questions, or, yes, trustee
I
Barrett.
just want to clarify something. I heard it twice already. Version 2, the way I understand it is, if they can prove residency in Dearborn, they will be charged in district. If they're
They're
anywhere.
being treated just like regular US
Well, yeah,
students.
no, that's what we're saying regular, but if they don't reside in Dearborn, they're still going to be eligible for other district.
For out of district.
Out of district,
Yes.
not international. I just want to make sure. Because we
Yeah,
keep
that
saying they
would-
can be treated like anybody else. If you're an international student, you're going to be charged international.
I believe that's our version 2.
Yeah,
That's
I'm just
the
clarifying.
way I understood
Yeah,
it, but
that's-
maybe Vice President Clark could.
Currently,
gonna
they
say-
are international students, is that correct?
Correct,
Yes.
they are.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. We keep hearing the
So-
words regular student, and I just want to be clear
So
on
if
this.
they reside in version 2, if they reside within the district and can prove their residency here, we would give them in-district tuition. If they are a TPS, they would, but do not live within the district, we would give them out-of-district status. Is that what version 2 reflects?
Well, version 2 just depended on their residency, and if they were unable to establish that they were out-of-district residents, then they would still be charged the international rates.
That's what I'm trying to bring up.
but-
That's not the way we had a discussion last. Okay.
But
But
if-
I think that the issue is that if they are, version 1 said these are international students who are from countries that have been afforded or been assigned temporary protective status, so that they would, the idea is to give them relief from that rate, and it would be, version 1 gives them out of district. I think version 2 would be based on where they establish their residence. And they'd be in the United States, and
So-
they'd either be in district or out of district. Right?
The way I understood the discussion last month was, yeah, we agree with version 2 that if they can establish residency in the city of Dearborn or the district of Henry Ford College, they would be charged in district. If not, we wouldn't treat them as international students, we would treat them as out of district, which is also known as in-state. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm reaching out to my colleagues. That's the way I understood it.
That's what I understood.
Yeah,
Follow-up
okay.
question.
And the only way they would be international is if they didn't reside within the state
Correct,
at all.
correct.
Yes, trustee
So
Moser.
in that regards, a student who lives, what defines a resident and as for the college? Because University of Michigan has its own stringent ways of defining your resident. Even I've had some colleagues at U of M Dearborn who were residents of the state of Michigan for years, and they have driver's license from the state of Michigan, and the University of Michigan still treats them as out-of-state tuition, or treats them as out-of-state student, because they did not go to high school here, and they have very, very stringent ways. So how does Henry Ford College determine if a student is a resident, for example, of Detroit, or a resident of Kalamazoo?
On page 3 of the residency
It's
policy,
written.
it addresses the requirements and acceptable items of documentation. So you could either have a valid Michigan driver's license or a
Okay.
Michigan ID card, and then you would have to provide at least one of the following other documents, which could be automobile registration, auto insurance certification, voter registration, previous year paid taxes. So that's how the college looks at establishing
Okay.
residency.
So, do I assume that TPS students, once they get their TPS designation, they can apply for a driver's license?
I'm assuming they can. I would defer to trustee Lane. I know that they
Do you know
get
trustee
work
Lane?
permits.
I think they can.
Yeah, they can.
They have work
I
permits.
do believe that they
so-
do have work permits, and so they're able to
Oh, they
drive.
definitely have work authorization.
So they're able to pull a driver's license which designate their address on it. I think that's, then they, if they live, trustee Barry, if they can prove that they live in Detroit, then they would be out of district tuition.
Not international.
Not international.
Okay, so I want to be clear on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, trustee Mead and then trustee
What is the
McDonald.
argument for version 1?
I don't know.
I think it's that we're giving already a break to those students, but since we're going away from international rate to out of district, but I believe that is still unfair to those students. And we cannot equate international students with TPS. As I mentioned in the last meeting, the international students who come on student visas, they have governments that support them or families back home that support them. Unfortunately, TPS designated nationals are in limbo, are stuck, are stranded. And it would be an amazing way for Henry Ford College to do this as a model. I'm not aware of any other university or college that has designated TPS students as we're doing tonight. So tonight would be a historic decision that we're making here, and we're setting a model, hopefully for the other colleges in this state and perhaps even nationwide to follow, to give these students who are in limbo a break on their tuition and to tell them that they're welcome. And that they, for the amount of time that they're here until perhaps their TPS designation expires or they go back to their country, while they're here, they're still coming and attaining their higher education, and that they can actually get a better job with their current TPS status, which allows them to work.
Okay,
So-
trustee McDonald, did you have a question?
Yes. I was looking at the list of documents that can be used. I was wondering if they are allowed a work permit, can we add that to the list? And does that show, I would assume that shows their address, but I don't know. It doesn't show their address?
No,
Okay, it's just a-
yeah, just,
Okay,
I think it's like a social
Just a-
security and those kinds of
Okay.
documents. Yes, trustee
Can we
Thorpe.
bring a motion forward at this time?
Is everybody comfortable with
I
the?
just want to just
Yes.
address Dr. Mead's, version 1, Dr. Mead, was what our policy committee brought forward, but the discussion last month, we took it a step further, saying if they reside within the district, they're paying, directly or indirectly paying property taxes, so we took it a step further and said, why don't we offer them in the district?
Okay,
Yeah, I just want to make sure, yeah.
I'm getting the feeling that the board members all support version 2. I just want to make sure that the public understands what is version 1.
Yeah, and I know it's yours, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, trustee Moses, and then I think we're going to be
I
ready
think
to.
whatever decision that we make tonight, I hope President Cavaluna will put this in a press release and send this to the press.
I don't think it's our role to direct.
I'm just as a suggestion, if
Okay.
you would like to, that could be at his discretion. Because as the speaker said, or the citizen mentioned, that this would be something that other colleges would follow suit, and we would get good press on this. So, and other students who are TPS who may not know that this is happening, who weren't able to enroll in the college or were actually dropped out of the college because of tuition constraints, can come back and apply to the college and be students and have that tax break, I'm sorry, not tax break, tuition break if they live in the district or even if they live outside the district.
All right, yes, trustee Lane, you ready to move on?
Don't worry. Trustee Thorpe told me, shut up, everybody's going to go along with it. But I do want to respond to just quickly 2 points. Trustee Moseb is right because, and I think it's worth putting on the record that otherwise we create a perverse dynamic that U of M has created where it forces students to drop out. I know that was the case for my husband. He had to drop out for 1 year and try to find any kind of job so that he could break the period when he was, even though he had a green card. At that time, he had permanent residence, and they still would not allow you to have permanent residence as long, and be classified for residency as long as you didn't break the period. So there is a perverse dynamic. I know that is working right now. I spoke with a number of different attorneys around the metro area. I know that there are a bunch of students, Yemeni students, but there are other students as well. I know in the community in Southwest Detroit, there are a number of students that do not know that they can apply for college base, even though they're undocumented or they have DACA or TPS. So one attorney asked me if we would send a recruiter to answer questions for students. So I know that it is the case. And that being said, that I would just like to put on the record because it's counter to what we profess as our goals nationally and locally to educate students.
Okay, are we ready to put forward a motion?
I would like to, or Trustee Lane, whatever works. I'd like to put up a motion to adopt version 2 to change the residency requirements for TPS designated students. And I would appreciate the colleagues' support on this motion.
I'll second.
All right, do we need a roll call vote?
Maybe.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? All right, we attach a unanimous roll to version 2.
Madam Chair, may I
Yes.
make a comment? I withhold my comments until the board decided the question, but I feel obligated to at least set the record out about what took place before the board made this decision. Mr. Abdul Hakim Al-Sada did invite myself and a number of my colleagues from the college to visit with his community in the east side of our city. And we had a great time there. I think there was maybe 10 or 12 of my colleagues there. Is that right, Mr. Abdul Hakim Al-Sada? It was longer ago than I'd like to admit because it took some time. But after that, Jeremy Guck, our team from our International Students Service Office, Vice President Herbst and Vice President Clark all put their shoulder to the plow, so to speak, here to help deliver what I thought the board wanted as far as information about the pros and cons, what other institutions do or don't do on this question. And I specifically instructed my colleagues, and I've tried to do so myself, by just giving you all information and letting you all handle what is what I believe the appropriate discretion of the board, but not giving you any advice or direction on the politics or policies of this, but simply to let you all make that decision, because we frankly as staff believe that's your role. But I do want to comment that I thought that the people that I have the privilege of working with as my teammates really did serve the board well with this amount of information. So I wanted to acknowledge them publicly. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
President Peskov, just to be clear that this tuition requirement would go in effect immediately for next semester, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, please.
Special consideration of an action item. Are there any agenda items on this agenda, any action items on this agenda which board members or the president wish to discuss and vote on separately? If they are, we will exclude them from the action below.
I just had a question on the IMP contract, I believe. Which item is that? Is that on there?
13, I think.
I don't need it pulled, I just have,
13, all right, so you just have a question.
yeah.
That's fine. It's not going to be polled. Any other? All right, can we?
I didn't.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yes.
Move to approve action items numbered 1 through 13 as recommended in this agenda.
So moved. Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Please attach a unanimous roll.
You had a question.
All right.
You had a question.
Yeah, Trustee Moses.
Yeah, I believe last time we talked about this and the savings that we would get from this contract, it would be realized. And obviously, we have the blueprint here, so thank you for all of that. But can you tell me exactly where we say, or we're guaranteeing those savings that we will receive? I think that was a discussion 2 weeks or 2 months prior, that those things are being guaranteed by the contractor. So Is that mentioned here in the?
Section 2.
Okay.
It's all of Section 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Section 2 describes the assured performance guarantees that JCI.
Starting page 15 on it.
That's page 30, starting at page 35.
35. I need to put my glasses on.
Thank you.
I saw the 5 at least.
Oh, 50, yeah, because she condensed it.
No, it's, I looked.
Yeah, if
35.
we don't reach those goals, they will chip in,
Okay.
so to speak.
All right. So just wanted to make sure that it's on record and it's on here. So that's great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, next, please.
Board of Trustees business, acknowledgement of correspondence.
I don't think anybody. Yeah, oh, yes, did you, now's the time for you to introduce anybody we approved who might be here, since we were all unanimous.
I'm proud about a couple things the board just endorsed. One of them is that we will be inviting and happy to welcome our new executive director of the Office of Human Resources. I've communicated to each of you the credentials for Dr. LaDonna Holly, and I also communicated to you that she would have been here but for a family commitment outside of the state, and I will be glad to introduce you to her in the new year. I also want to take time to recognize and congratulate a colleague who, by tonight's board action, is receiving a significant promotion, and that's Reuben Bruckley. Go ahead and stand up, Reuben. He has been with the college for, I believe, over 2 decades, or if not over, very close to 2 decades. He served in various levels of the institution, and he interviewed for and was selected as the Director of Facility Services. This is a position last held by Sandro Silvestri, and I have great optimism and faith in Reuben as the leader of that department. And I know that Mr. Satkowski, who this board trusts the judgment of to a high degree, also shares that kind of optimism and trust in Reuben. So it is a rare and enjoyable time for leaders of the college to lift up someone who served us for many years into a higher leadership position. So Reuben, congratulations on your selection. I look forward to it. And Madam Chair, recently, within the last year, you all saw that we promoted Dr. Lori Gonko to a position of Vice President, and she has recently selected, and the board now has ratified her selection of a woman named Jennifer Markin, who's here. Jennifer, if you could stand. Jennifer comes to us from Madonna University, and she'll be taking the role of Coordinator of Program Improvement and Effectiveness. And I just had a chance to meet with her this evening and tell her how happy we are that she's here, and glad to have her on Dr. Gonko's team. You all know that this institution has been working very hard to be an institution that focuses on data and analysis before making decisions. I think the TPS decision we just went through, the IEMP contract you all just ratified, the near incessant focus I bring to you on enrollment should show you that that's a real focus for our institution, and Dr. Gonko's selection of Ms. Markin should be another tip of the hat to how we plan to continue to support you as board members in focusing on data for informed decisions. And so it is my pleasure to introduce you to Jennifer Markin and welcome her to the team. I surveyed the crowd before we started this meeting, and I don't think I saw anyone else who started. Vice Presidents, do you have anyone else who, we did hire several new instructors, and I'm sure that we'll have an opportunity to introduce you to them. But we're almost at the what we call the twilight zone of the term, where everyone is head down getting their grades ready and then heads out of the institution. So that's why our attendance here is a little bit paltry, but it is really a wonderful place to work. It is a great point of pride for me to introduce you to my teammates, and I appreciate your support of our recommendations for those who have become our new teammates tonight. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. And welcome to your new positions. Thank you. Next item. Now we're back to
Board committee reports. None.
none. Oh, yeah, we didn't have anything tonight. Next.
Request for information and future agenda items.
Trustee Moses?
I believe Trustee Barry has asked a while ago about the sustainability report. Are we getting that? So do we have a timeline when we will receive something about the health of the college and something along these lines, Mr. Cavallone?
Trustee Moses, I have to plead ignorance to this. I'm not remembering this, but I'm happy to respond to any requests, and I would just beg.
It was a discussion that I had with Trustee Barry lately, and then he told me about something that he's requested, and I think he was expecting. Maybe he can elaborate more.
Trustee Moses and I had a discussion earlier today, and he started asking me some questions. I said, hold off, we asked for this report, I believe it was in October, knowing that it was going to take a while. It wasn't something we expected right away. But then later on, he also had a good idea that I know sometimes in your report, we get, some of the agenda, and some of the requests for information reports, some of them we don't. So I guess if somehow, some way, we can figure out a way where we can put everything in there. So from the minutes, they go into this link, and we can get it. I guess we're used to that on the other side, different public schools, so we don't run into something like this. I was just waiting for that report to come out, but when Trustee Moses was asking me, I said, we'll hold off, but now I understand that maybe we missed something. Maybe we need to put all this in one place.
Would it be helpful, because the President and I have been discussing, but because it was so late in the year, to have a board retreat, which we generally do at the beginning of the new year, and possibly that could be something that
That's something that can be discussed, yeah.
Could be
but
discussed.
We need to get the report first.
For a conversation at a board retreat
Sure.
in maybe February
And that's
or
exactly what I
something
was
like
thinking.
that.
I was kind of planting the seeds
Right.
for that discussion. Let's see what.
Well, let's make sure that we have enough information.
Information, exactly.
Right,
Exactly,
right.
so.
That we know moving forward, and everybody is prepared come next year that there will be another board retreat where we can have these kinds of
Sure.
fleshing out of some of these topics, and that there won't be any surprises for President Cavalluna or his cabinet either, that they're ready to do business.
Well, if I may, Trustee Barry, I have to acknowledge I don't recall this. It's what I'll do, and what we do as a president's office is when trustees do request information of myself or the team, we keep a running log of it that I'm happy to share with the board, and then we report out our findings on them. I certainly, I'm not happy that I can't remember this, but I don't remember this. So what I need to do is.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Well, first let Trustee Lane.
I'm uncomprehending whether, with the term sustainability report,
what's-
whether it's financial sustainability, student count sustainability, environmental sustainability. I don't understand
I
what
would have to revisit the minutes
for-
of that meeting. I believe it was I want to say October.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the discussion was, so I'll have to revisit that, and I asked, we need, probably a good idea to look at.
Well, that, of course, can
Yeah.
be done, but can you tell us what it is that you're looking for?
I would have to look at the minutes, see what the discussion was, then I can tell. I'll share with you.
I
Yeah.
think I
Trustee
recall it being financial, but I wouldn't, bet the house on it. But I think it was financial related.
So I can commit to the trustees that I'll look at this and I can report out what my records show. And I certainly would then invite any trustees that want to amend what information is needed from the President's office. The last major report that I made to the board on this topic was, and I do know this because I worked hard on it and my staff worked even harder on it. Trustee Lane asked for a report. At the time, she asked for it 6 months later about the sustainability of the enrollment at this institution. And we put a lot of work into that. And then if you recall, Dr. Herbst, along with some of his colleagues, made presentations to the board, ending with his own presentation to the board in October. And I simply don't recall if another request for information came at that October meeting from Trustee Barry or anyone else, but I'm certainly happy to review my records, and I'm also open to Trustee Barry's recommendation that if there are ways that we can improve our service to the board by emulating what the other institution that you serve does, or anything like that, I'm always open to feedback.
Or some version of it, because we want you to be comfortable with producing information in a way that, in a format that serves you as well. So, Trustee
I'd just like to
Mead.
suggest in this discussion that if we get specific about something about sustainability, whether it's finances or environment or whatever, that we include it in the strategic plan that is being put together now for starting in next year, right? Or
Yes, Trustee Mead, the committee that will begin the analysis of the strategic plan will start in January, and actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because it is one of the topics that if the board decides to have a retreat, I'll ask the board to put on the agenda. We've talked about it as a leadership team at the college, and that discussion will begin in earnest in January, primarily because the strategic plan that we currently are under continues until the middle part of 2020.
Okay.
Okay, Trustee Moser?
I would just like to say that if we do have an archived document of all of the things that we've requested in the past, that would be very helpful for me as a newest trustee. So I would not be asking information that perhaps were asked before. Now, I did attend a lot of meetings on the other side, but I didn't have access to these minutes or these archived information. The district does that, President Cavaluna, and I think it would be, it would save a lot of time of yours, and it would save a lot of time for ours, that we could go back to these previous reports and we look at these and we say, okay, well, now I understand. I don't have to ask
It's okay to still
quote-unquote
ask.
dumb questions. But no, sometimes you
it's
do
okay
ask
to still
repetitive
ask.
questions, and I do see that other trustees would be like, well, we already discussed it. But again, this board, obviously next year we have 4 seats that will be up, and it's always changing. If new people are coming on, and I think that kind of archiving of information that we presented this report to the board, you asked for this information, and we put it in that document or in that storage, and we can easily search it. It would be a huge benefit to everybody.
Yes, Trustee
I
Mead?
mean, I'd just like to suggest that if we do a good job with the strategic planning, more than likely, we won't have to ask so many questions, because we will already have decided what it is that the work that needs to be done. So, yeah, once in a while, something will come up that we need to ask, but if we do a good job with the strategic plan, it will reduce board questions.
And I think we all are, our minutes are available. I mean, we do get them set, so if you need to refresh your memory on anything that happened in a past meeting, you always have access to the previous month's minutes to go through. You might have to do a little digging, a little work, but that'll help remind yourself of some of the things that you think need to be revisited at some point in time. All right, is there any other requests for information in our future agenda items? All right, then, next, please.
Board member commentary.
Okay, Trustee McDonald and Trustee Moser.
I just want to thank Chair Petchikoff for her work this year as chair. I know it's not an easy position to take on, and appreciate your leadership and what you've done for us on both the college and the district side. And I also want to wish everyone a wonderful vacation. Take time to enjoy your family, take time to regroup and to decompress, and to come back regenerated in the new year and ready to tackle all the things that we need to take on. So, have a wonderful holiday, everyone.
Trustee Moser and then Trustee Lane.
I just would like to echo Trustee McDonald's comments. Thank you, President Petchikoff or Chair Petchikoff, for your leadership this year. This board obviously has gone through a lot of major things this year, so you led it with grace and leadership, so thank you for that. I'd like to also thank the members and also leadership for the Black Male and Queens focus group at the college for their amazing fourth annual Queen's Celebration Dinner. Trustee Mead and I were there on behalf of the board, and it was a great celebration. And Dr. Nealon and others from the college were there as well. So thank you for supporting such groups that are telling us how students are, and they are able to express themselves, and we're really lucky to have them. I also had a great time. I went a little bit late to the nursing pinning ceremony, and I think that was an amazing night for the college to see 102 graduates from the nursing school. Now, last year, or was it still this year, in the spring, 80 graduates. So, and we had the 80th anniversary, so it was kind of a nice coincidence to have that. So, last two things that I want to mention: census is coming up, 2020. I know a lot of people are getting ready for this. Perhaps the college is obviously involved in this and encouraging everybody to be counted. I think I do have a sticker on my laptop that says "Count me in." So I encourage everybody to encourage others to be counted and to answer those census questions. Very, very important. This only happens every 10 years. I would like to also wish everybody happy holidays during this season, and best of wishes for those taking finals for our students. I know my wife just finished hers, and she's glad she finished them. So looking forward to next semester and to next year as well. So thank you.
Trustee Lane?
I mentioned to President Cavalluna that I heard at a National Immigrant Integration Conference recently that refugees and any persons who have been homeless at any time in their life are eligible for education, public education, with fees paid publicly up until age 22. I know the person that did the presentation was out of the Refugee Education Center in Grand Rapids. It would benefit the district, but there could be some kind of combined, and I know that there are efforts right now for a combined college district center for older age students. So I would just like to ask that someone be assigned to contact the Refugee Education Center. If I think about it, I will also. But you might be able to ask more pertinent questions than I can. So that's one thing. And then secondly, I would just like to say that I'll mention this in January at the district meeting. I did hear over the weekend just of a small gesture, but it was very nice, and it reminds us of what it means to be humane. At the Stout play, they ran a 50-50 raffle. And of course, the 50-50 raffle, 50% of it was going to a charity. I think it was a family at Stout School in need. And the person donated back the rest of the money also. I believe I think it was a mother with some kind of cancer and young children. So I would just encourage people, every time I walk by the door and see the Hawks pantry, I feel really sad that we have college students who are struggling through, and that needs donations. I did stop in there. I don't know if they're open until Friday, but it kind of makes me sad to think there'll be people in there on Friday, when the last day, and they'll be getting food. So everybody should remember to give to other people generously. Thank you.
Thank you. It's that time of year where those kinds of thoughts are more prominent, but we hope to sustain that kind of sentiment year-round and find ways to contribute back wherever we can. And I think some of the decisions we made tonight will help in that direction, hopefully. And I, too, want to wish everyone a good holiday and time off. Everybody take a breath, relax, and come back ready to work. Thank you. All right. Next.
Future meeting dates, Monday, January 13, 2020, P12 organizational meeting, 6:45 at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom. Monday, June 13, 2020, P12 Board of Education meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom. Tuesday, January 21st, 2020, HFC Board of Trustees Policy Committee meeting, 6 p.m. at the Administrative Services and Conference Center in the Cabinet Conference Room. And Tuesday, January 21st, 2020, HFC Board of Trustees meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Services and Conference Center in the Rosenau Boardroom.
And this will be the last time you hear me gavel out. Pardon?
Could I say something?
Yes, you can.
just wanna-
I won't let you.
I just want to say thank you to every one of you for this IEP improvement. I've been working on this for 3 years.
Yep.
My staff's worked on it for 3 years. Susan here from Butts Along has dealt with the contractor. We've been dealing with that since May when you gave us the approval to go forward. We have JCI, Johnson Control Person here, Tim. Dave.
I figured the 2 suits had to be from JCI.
Now the work begins. Let's put it there.
Mr. Garforth is here, too.
Truly excited about
Yes, I saw him, too.
For this college, it's going to be a significant improvement, a significant investment. I want to just thank you all for
Well,
Thank-
we look forward to seeing it work. Yes.
John, we also want to thank you. The passion you showed for this project is what helped sell it, so.
You were
yeah,
dedicated to it.
thank you very much.
I almost forgot Peter back.
Yes,
We all know who Peter is.
he's become a new employee. Well, we appreciate it. We hope to see great things out of it, and we hope to set the example for this area, this region, and see great things occur from it. I was a little bit skeptical at first when I saw the immensity of the project. So, but I signed on. So we will see how quickly we can get this progress going. So this is the last time you're going to hear me gavel out, because we do rotate our executive board here. So here I go. We are adjourned.